A warm welcome to you all for the Business and Accounting Studies subject, Grade 10. This is the second lesson, Unit 2 in your textbook. Previously, last session, we discussed about the subject as a basket subject in your curriculum, in your Grade 10 list of subjects. And Business and Accounting Studies, I told you it lays the path for you directly to your advanced level commerce stream. I hope you remember. So with the subject, the first lesson, we did it in a very clear manner. I hope every one of you understood everything about background of business. That was the first lesson. Second lesson, today we meet with business environments. That is your Unit 2 in the textbook topics lineup. Shall we? The cover page of your textbook, Lesson 2, Unit 2, Business Environment. Here you go. You have the subtopics and the content of the Lesson 2. Let's just try to have a simple breakdown of the subtopics. First subtopic, 2.1, Business Environment. You're going to learn what type of an environment is prevalent for any business in this world. What type of environments, right? 2.2, Technological and Economic Environment. Before I move down to 2.2, just a quick reminder. Do you remember we talked about, I explained you that this syllabus, the subject is going to talk a little bit about stakeholders of a business. I'm sure that you remember that. In our previous session, we talked about stakeholders a little bit. Yes? No, it was kind of a broad explanation which I gave you. I hope you remember the explanation about stakeholders, which came in Chapter 1, Unit 1. In this chapter, Business Environment, first subtopic, we are going to talk a little more about those stakeholders. Internal stakeholders under this first subtopic, and then external stakeholders as we go down with the subtopics. So this chapter, Unit 1, no, Unit 2, pay attention, Unit 2. This chapter talks about all these areas in the business environments, related to the business environments, internal environment and external environment. Right. We'll move on, shall we? Children, what is business environment? I'm sure you can see the image, right? What is business environment? Well, you must have heard about natural environment. We all love the natural environment, right? We love nature, of course. Or you might have heard things about your household environment. I'm sure that you have heard your household environment. What type of an environment prevails, exists in your house, at home, with your family members, right? And while you're at home, you must be seeing the things happening in the outer environment, right? Outer environment with your neighbors, with the streets and the people and animals and other things which surround your house. You must be seeing all that, right? While you're at home. While you're at home, yes. Likewise, what is business environment? The environments related to any business organization, right? We'll talk about what environments, internal and external, in detail as we move on. Shall we? You have a simple definition. This is your definition. Can you read it? Yes, of course. Any business has environments related to it. Where's the definition? No definition. We'll make up a definition for business environments. Can you help me with that? We are talking about what, children? Business environments. Right. Shall we come up with a definition? What do you think? How can we define business environments? I'll give you a small clue. If you can come up with a simple definition, right? Work with me. Business environment refers to the activities forces which directly can you fill out the rest? Yes, you. Why don't you try? Business environments refer to activities or forces which directly or indirectly affect which directly or indirectly affect what? Activities or forces which directly or indirectly affect a business. That's right. Well, I'm sure you can see this clearly. The definition says that business environments refer to activities or forces which directly or indirectly affect a business. Read out with me. Business environments mean the environments which has the activities or forces, right, which directly or indirectly affect a business. That's a simple definition to explain business environments, right? So, children, as you know, in the first chapter, we discussed about stakeholders. Can you remember? We discussed about many stakeholders. Many. Yeah? Of course you can remember. We talked about internal stakeholders. Yeah. And what other stakeholders? Yes, external stakeholders. That's right. We talked about both parties, both forces which exist inside the business and which are existing outside the business. Stakeholders. Yes. So, when we talked about stakeholders in the previous lesson, I very clearly explained you that there are internal and external stakeholders. I hope you remember. In this chapter, children, we are going to identify the environments which they prevail in or which they exist in. Internal stakeholders exist in the internal environment, and external stakeholders exist in the external environment or outer world. Right. If you want, you can take down this definition, right? It very simply defines what business environments refer to. All right. Shall we move on? Internal environment. Just think about what happens or how is it at home for you? In your house. Do you like it? You want to be at home? You want to spend more time at home? Was that a yes? If you ask me, so do you like to stay at home? Do you like the environment inside your house at home? Well, my answer is yes. That's my zone. That's where everybody I know exists. Everybody that relates to me. Everybody with whom I have my closest relationships, like my parents, right? My sister, my brother, my siblings, right? My children. Everybody is at home. So I like to be at home, obviously. Just like that, children. Internal environment has these main figures or parties. Let's say people. That's the simplest way the simplest word I can use. People, parties who exist in the internal environment. Just like you are at home, in your home, you have the people who you have the closest relationships with. Inside a business also, these parties have close relationships. I hope you understand this. Let's take the first party. Owners. Owners of a business. They are the people who initiate, who takes the first step, who gets the idea of starting a certain business. Owners. And they are the people who invest, who bring in what? Who bring in or who invest the money. We call it capital. The resources, especially money, which is brought in, invested to a business by the owners. It's called capital. I hope you see this fully. Owners are the persons supplying the required capital. for a business. They are the ones who initiate the business. They are the ones who start the business. They are the forerunners of the business. They set objectives or targets of the business. Remember, we talked about objectives in the previous session. Remember, we talked about objectives of a business. Main objectives, sub-objectives. You must remember these. Those objectives are set most of the time by owners. And they align all the other resources needed to carry on with the business. They take the risk of starting the business. They play a major role, obviously. So, owners are in the internal environment. Right? The main or the party which plays a big role in the internal environment. Second party, who is next? Managers. Yeah? Managers. Who are managers? Do you have any idea who managers are? I'm sure that you have heard the word, of course, managers. Managers, I'm sure that you have heard the word. If you have businesses run by your fathers, or if you have a business background at home, you must have met these people. Yeah? Managers, they are the persons, they are the people who take decisions to direct the resources of a business. They are the ones who are taking the decisions, or they might be implementing the decisions taken by whom? Taken by the owners. Yeah? Owners as the people who play the main role in a business, they take their decisions, and it is up to the managers to implement those decisions, to direct the employees, to give them advices, to give them instructions, right? To decide or to implement the decisions already taken, right? How the business operations should be run, to improve the operations, to improve the performance of a business, right? And ultimately, in the end, they are responsible, they are one of the parties, one of the forces who are responsible of achieving the objectives or the targets of the business. Remember, they carry a big responsibility. Ultimately, they are responsible, they are one of the parties who are responsible of achieving the goals or the targets of the business. Take that point into your heads, children. Let's continue. In order to achieve the objectives of its owners. Didn't I tell you this? Didn't I tell you? That's exactly what I told you. In order to achieve the objectives of the owners, or the objectives set by the owners, the ultimate goal, objective, should be achieved with the help or with the guidance along with owners, with the guidance of managers. Managers are responsible to build a good relationship between the customers. They have various other responsibilities. Of course, Do you think they have only one task to perform? No, they have multiple tasks. Responsibility of building good relationships, not only with customers, but with employees of the business. As I told you, to instruct the employees, to guide them, not to push them around, right? To guide them, to give them proper instructions, to align them with the goal or with the common objective of the business. These two get together and they work towards achieving the objectives of the business. So, two main parties, children. Two main parties, forces in the internal environment. Internal environment of a business. Third, who's next? Employees. Haven't we talked about employees? What is that? No. We have. In our previous sessions, we have talked about employees of a business. I gave you the simple term, workers. But let's not use that word now. As we move on, we'll use this word, this name. This is the proper one. Employees. 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 In our previous session, I told you that employees are the people who give their physical and mental contributions towards the business activities. Physical, the physical force, the physical efforts, and mental, the mental efforts in order to carry on with the business. Very important force, very important party in order to make the business a success. Committed employees, dedicated employees are very important. Let's take some examples. Now, who is coming from a business background, who has businesses run by your fathers, you may know. Employees. Some are there who are providing physical efforts. Namely, in your business, let's take the security guards. They provide their physical efforts. If it's a construction business, building, there are masons, plumbers who work with pipes. There are employees such as, let's say, laborers. If it's a factory, there are mechanics who fix machines, right? These type of employees, they are providing their physical efforts, the physical efforts. Physically, they support, they do their job, right, in your business. So, physical. And mental. Who are the people, employees in your business, staff members? All these words are used for the same force, same party. Employees, workers, staff members. Who are the staff members who provide mental efforts? Let's take some examples. Let's say the business is a construction business. The same example we took earlier. A construction business. There are masons, plumbers, wiring mechanics and electricians and these type of workers, laborers who provide the physical labor, right? Loaders, unloaders, laborers, physical labor. They are also employees. But in a construction business, building skyscrapers, constructing houses, in this type of a business, who are the mental support, the people who provide mental support? Did somebody say engineers? Engineers, of course, they provide mental support, they provide mental efforts. Their education, their qualifications, their thinking capacity, they use in order to support the business, in order to work in their jobs. And people, employees such as architects, they provide their mental support, mental efforts, their ideas, their creativity, their intuition. You know what intuition is? Their imagination. They put in all those work, all those things to support the business, to do their job. So there you go. In your business, do you have more physical laborers, people who provide physical efforts, or do you have more people, employees who provide mental effort? Think. Can you read out the para? This context, this content is directly from your textbook. So if you have textbooks, children, you can refer to your textbooks right now. Just read with me right now. Employees are persons who duly perform their tasks assigned using their own skills. Their skills they use in order to do their work, to do their job. Could be physical skills, could be mental skills, assigned using their own skills and competencies. Yeah, their dedication and good attitudes also matter for a business to succeed. Their dedication and good attitudes, important qualities, right? Dedication, I told you, dedicated employees are very important for a successful business. Also matter for a business to be successful. There you go. 1, 2, 3. 1, owners. 2, managers. 3, employees. The three parties or three forces in the internal environment. Take this into your heads right now. Very important, children. Very important. You have, if you refer to your past papers, past examination papers, have had a lot of questions from this lesson, business environments. Especially the first question, which is the compulsory question. Many subparts have come from this content, right? So owners, managers, employees, the three main parties. Let's move on. Right, we are moving on. We are shifting our focus from internal environment to external environment. The outer world, as I told you. I took your household environment, right? I told you that internal environment, at home, the surrounding at home, that is the most comfortable for us. We have close relationships with the people in our home. Obviously, Obviously, those are the people you know, those are the people you hang out with, always. Like that internal environment of a business has parties or forces or people who have close relationships with each other. Owners, managers, employees. Close relationships, children. Then, now we are going to talk about external environment, the outer world, and parties or forces that exist in the outer world, external to the business, outside of a business. What is the first party? Who is this? Customers. Customers. So, who are customers? You can read this, right? Customers buy goods and services from a business. The survival of a business depends on its customers. Wow. What a point. Survival of a business depends on its customers. It's a powerful point, something that you should focus on, right? Survival, the very survival of a business depends on the customers. I have explained you, we have learned about customers before. I have told you that one of the two main objectives of any business, one directly is about customers. Let's see, you can remember. Tell me if you can remember. What is the main objective of a business? What is it? What? No. Yes, that's right. Main objective is earning profits. Right? Yeah, obviously, earning profits. That is the main objective. No doubt about that. There are non-profit businesses. Businesses who do not target profits. That's a different story. You're going to learn about these things in the later lessons, in the coming lessons. But we take the main objective, main goal of a business as earning profits. The second main objective, I told you that there are two main objectives, and one directly is about customers. So what is that? The second objective. What is that? First objective, earning profits. Second, yes, you are right. Very good. Second main objective, children, increasing customer satisfaction. There you go. Customers are the people who are interested in buying our products, who are interested in having our products, getting our goods, buying our goods. They spend their money on our goods. They come and buy our products. If they keep on coming, we can keep on going with the business. If they stop coming, what do you think? That is the end of our business. So the very survival of a business depends on its customers. Depends on the customers. If the customers stop coming to our business, if they stop buying our products, that is the end of our business, right? Like I told you. Okay, important question. Now, think of this. From the three parties we discussed, we learned, the three parties who exist in the internal environment, which party should have a relationship with customers in the external environment? Which party? The three parties in the internal environment, as we discussed earlier, internal environment, owners, managers, Employees? Which party should have a relationship with the customers? Well, if you say all three, that's correct too. Owners, managers, employees, all should have a good relationship with the customers. But in some businesses, it depends. It depends. Maybe you have seen in some businesses, most of the time the smaller ones, the smaller businesses, small scale businesses, owners act as managers. Owners, they do the job of the manager, right? So let's take a shop, an outlet. Let's take a textile shop. Owners, they act as the managers of the business. They come to the business, they manage the flow, they instruct the employees, they guide the workers, the staff to do certain tasks. They order goods, they decide where to display the goods, right? They decide what type of promotions to be done. They work in the business. They come and they work. They do the manager's role. So in that type of a case, owners also must have a good relationship with the customers, right? In a personal level, customers who are loyal most of the time come back again to a business if they have a good relationship. So customer loyalty is built up with a good relationship. Remember, loyal customers are important to us, to any business. They keep on coming back, keep on buying our products, right? So customers, they are very, very vital for a business to succeed. Satisfaction, increasing their satisfaction is one of the main objectives, right? Just like I told you, the businesses are required to identify different needs and wants of customers and satisfy them, increases in satisfaction. Yeah, of course, right? And you need to identify the patterns, the trends, changing trends, and act accordingly. If you are an owner, yeah. If you are a manager, same thing. Work with your customers, have a good relationship with your customers. It's important to succeed as a business, right? That's about it. We have discussed a lot about customers. We'll move on to competitors. Second force in the external environment. First, second. Competitors. Children who are competitors, do you know what does this mean? Read. You'll get an idea if you read this. I have a better idea. I'll give you a very simple definition about competitors. Competitors are the people or the companies or the businesses who produce the same good that your company produces. You got it? Let's take this watch. Is this a good? Of course it's a good, yeah. It has a physical existence, see? I can touch it, I can feel it. It's a good. And it satisfies my needs and wants. So it's a good. This watch is produced. You know what is producing? Making. This watch is made by a company called Casio. Are there any other companies in the world who make similar products? No other companies in the whole world? Casio is the only company? produces watches? You can't be serious. No. There are many other companies, business organizations who produce the same product. Watches, different watches, different types of watches, different colors, but watches. So, to this company, to this business organization, another company who produces the same type of goods is a competitor. Right? I can't say enemies. Maybe they are enemies, but I can't use that word. But just remember, they compete with each other, always bump into each other, clash into each other. Sometimes it's not happening, but sometimes these things happen in the real world. Clashes, competition. So those are competitors. Okay? Now, I have an interesting thing for you. There you go. What do you see here, children? What do you see? Many number of brands, lot of brands, lot of companies, lot of businesses which are very familiar to you. Aren't they familiar to you? I'm sure that they are familiar. You have used these products. You know these brands, right? Okay. It's a fun activity. I want you to find a competitor to the company or to the brand which I mark on the screen. I will mark one name, one brand name. Out of all these brand names, I will mark one. You have to find a competitor to that brand, right? Let's see whether you got the meaning of competitors. All right, here we go. First brand, first company, Pepsi. How many times have you used this product, children? Countless times you have used. It's a popular brand in the world. Pepsi. Can you find a competitor of Pepsi? Can you? What is that? What is the company? What is the competitor of Pepsi? Of course, yes, this brand. This is the competitive brand of Pepsi. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, Pepsi. Pepsi, Coca-Cola. They are competitors. They produce the same type of good. Cola drinks. I don't know whether they are very good for your health. That's something that you should think about. But they are competitors. Okay? Competitors. They are competitors. Rivals. Okay? Competitors. Let's take another, shall we? Another. I'm going to give you another. Right. How about this brand? Do you know this brand? Children, do you know this brand? Sony. Can you find a competitor of Sony? Yes, it's right next to Sony. LG. a company which produces the same type of goods which Sony produces. LG, they are competitors. Competitors, children. Competitors. Any other company here? Any other brand name that you can see? Who is a competitor of Sony and LG? Well. Yes, there is one here. What do you think? Samsung. Competitors. Sony is a competitor of Samsung. Samsung is a competitor of Sony. And LG is a competitor too. Competitors. Last. Wow, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that. What is that company? Apple. Is there a competitor here? Competitor of Apple? I can't find. Can you find a competitor of Apple? I'm just thinking, a competitor of Apple. I'm sure you can find a competitor of Apple, children. Yeah? Apple competitors? Dell is a competitor. So there you go, children. Competitors of a business is an external party or force in the outer world, right? Just like we discussed. Now, I can see another competitor of, I can see two competitors, Puma, Adidas, two competitors. Likewise, a competitor of one business, let's say of Pepsi, if you are considering the company Pepsi-Cola, this company, for this company, Coca-Cola is a competitor, and it's an outside force, an external force in the external environment of Pepsi-Cola. So there you go. Competitors of any business. That's a force which exists in the outside world or external environment of that business. Shall we move on? Well, there's another very clear demonstration of the competitors for you. Coke and Pepsi, Denta versus Signal. Arch rivals, right? You know what type of enemies, competitors are they? Now, since we talked about customers in the external environment as external environment force, a very important force, and since we talked about competitors, we have to talk about these people too. These are our suppliers. Our suppliers, the suppliers who provide us with required things like resources, are called suppliers. The parties or the people in the outside world, external environment, who provide us with resources, required resources, various types of resources, those parties are called suppliers. Let's read out. Parties providing required raw materials and other services to business are known as suppliers. It is vital to supply raw materials and other services at the right time. It's vital. Let's take an example. We take examples for every matter, right? Let's take an example. Suppliers. Who are the suppliers you can give me for a garment business? For a business organization, or for a company who produces garments. Garments. Let's take the company which produced this shirt. Tell me a supplier. Yes, you. Tell me a supplier. Tell me something that should be supplied in order to produce this product. What is that? Materials. Yeah, of course. Materials. Materials, children. These materials should be supplied to the garment in order to stitch and to design and to finish this product. So, material suppliers must be there. Are they an internal environment factor, or are they inside the environment of like inside the business? Are they suppliers? No, they are in the external environment. External environment, right? But important party, very important party, suppliers. So raw materials are supplied to a business by the suppliers. What other things can suppliers supply? What other things can suppliers supply? Services, such as transport services. Transport services, right? We'll take some other examples. Right, can you find, if I mark a business or if I mark a brand name, which is given here, can you find a supplier of some sort to that company? Well, this time it's going to be a little tricky. It's a little tricky, okay? Earlier you had to find a competitor, and we found many competitors. I marked Pepsi and Coca-Cola is a competitor. I marked what? Puma, and you identified that Adidas is a competitor. Now, no, not the competitors. No, I need a supplier if I mark a brand, or if I mark a business, a name, a brand name. Can you find a supplier of some sort out of the other businesses? Try. Let's try. How about this? How about if I mark this? McDonald's. Is this known to you, McDonald's? What comes to your mind when I say McDonald's? Burgers, right? Burgers, yeah. Can you find a supplier of something who supplies something to McDonald's out of these names? What do you think? No? No? I can give you a clue. Gas. McDonald's need, every outlet need gas in order to prepare their, products, in order to bake the buns, in order to fry the chicken and all sorts of things, right? In a kitchen, in McDonald's kitchen, they need gas. So how about this? What is this business? Shell gas. Shell gas must be supplying gas, yeah, to McDonald's. Could be, we don't know. But I just want to give you a sense of what a supplier, who a supplier is, right? Competitors, we learned about competitors, yeah. Suppliers. A manager of a company says, our company needs your help. And there are a number of employees. Suppliers, I'm sorry, number of suppliers. Employees are in the company. Outside the company, outside the business, in the external environment, there are suppliers lined up to supply something which is needed by the company. See, we'll put a smiley face. He's a supplier. He's happy to supply any item, any raw materials needed by a company. He has marked price per item. He has marked the delivery time. He has marked the payment terms, how he needs the payment, how he's expecting the payment, by credit card or by cash, payment terms, and he has marked the reorder quantity, how much do we need again to reorder from him. He has marked all these things. He is ready to supply the materials, whatever it is, we don't know. Suppliers. So, children, suppliers. Let's just read out what the textbook has to say. We already read, but the latter part. Parties providing required raw materials and other services to businesses are known as suppliers. It is vital to supply raw materials and other services at the right time. It is vital. Otherwise, the production stops. If we do not get the required material on time into the factory, with what are we going to produce? Right, children. Important 3 factors in the external environment. Customers, important, very important. Competitors, right? We must pay attention to our competitors. Otherwise, they are going to take the leap. Otherwise, they are going to get ahead. Focus on competitors is important. So, 2 important factors. Third one is suppliers. The 3 important forces or parties in the external environment, children. Okie dokie. Now, do you think that is it? External environment has only these 3? No. Well, there are other forces. 4th factor or force in the external environment, political forces. In a country, policies of the government will have an influence on businesses. Well, in Sri Lanka, do you want me to talk about the political condition in our country? I, of course, don't want. There's a good reason behind that. Not in our lesson. But we have to talk a little bit of the political environment. A little bit. At least which is relevant for us. Only the relevant things, right? political forces, they determine a lot of things as a country moves ahead. Political forces. Just have a look. The businessmen have to conduct their businesses by considering these policies. Policymakers, they are the policymakers, right? They are in the parliament. The simplest image that I can give you, the politicians who are making decisions about the country in the parliament. Those decisions directly and indirectly affects every business in the country. Examples: infrastructure development policy, fiscal policy, foreign relationships, foreign policy. These policies directly or sometimes indirectly affects our business. All right? So policymakers, political forces are also should be considered when carrying on with our business. What do we have next? Legal environment. Legal. This is our fifth force, isn't it? Legal environment. Can you remember the earlier four? The four factors, four forces that we discussed about? In the external environment? Yes? Customers, yes? Competitors, yes? Suppliers, very good. And these three main parties, in addition to that, we talked about political forces. That's right. Good. Now we are going to talk about the fifth force in the external environment, legal forces. Let's read. Legal environment consists of laws and regulations enforced in order to protect consumers, in order to protect domestic manufacturers and business community, and to protect the environment. Isn't it necessary to have a law in a country? Just a simple question. You don't need to answer that. Again, we are not going to talk about the local context, the condition of our country. We'll just talk generally about the legal environment and how it affects directly or indirectly, how it affects a business. Okay, simple example. Do you know that some businesses need to get a license? There should be a license or a permit in order to carry out their business. Do you know that? Yes, children. Yes. That obligation or that barrier is imposed by the legal environment. People, the public of the country, they can't just go on with any business or any activity that they want in any way, doing it any way they want. No. Just imagine what things people would start if there was no control, if there were no legal controls. Must have this force in order to control activities of people, especially business activities of people. Yes? A bakery would need a permit or a license. Did you know that? Yes, maybe you did. A pharmacy would need a license. You can't start a pharmacy just like that. Laws and regulations are there. Children, laws and regulations are there. A pharmacy needs a license or a permit. A bakery, a pharmacy, a wood mill, a mill must have a permit. A school, if you want to start a private school, do you think you can just go on and rent out a building and hire employees, a bunch of teachers, just like that? You can start a... No, children, no. It's complicated. There are laws that you can adhere, you must adhere to. There are laws and regulations, right? These type of business activities are controlled by the legal forces of a country. Sure. Then we know how to go ahead with the legal the legal framework in our country. We know that our people, Sri Lankan people, we are very legally bound people, right? Yes, maybe. All right. It says to protect domestic manufacturers and business community and to protect the environment. In addition, the government appoints institutions, boards, commissions, and responsible authorities and individuals to enact these laws. Okay, so law, the legal force, if when we say legal forces, it doesn't only mean the police or the courts, right? It doesn't only mean the police or the courts. There are many institutions, boards, commissions, responsible authorities, and individuals. All right. Now, some examples are given here. You see them, right? Companies Act. A company cannot be registered. A company cannot be started. Companies. We are going to learn about companies in the coming lesson. A company cannot be started just like that, the way you want, whenever you want. It should be registered, right? There is a law or an act related to the registration of companies. This one. Okay. Consumer Affairs Authority Act. That's another act. It protects consumers and the consumer rights. As consumers, we have rights. All right. A business cannot sell any dirty thing, any illegal thing to consumers, which would harm the consumers. Right? Legal controls are there. Shop and Office Employees Act. Another act, another law or regulation. Right. So, following are some designations and institutions appointed to enact these laws. Registrar of Companies, Consumer Affairs Authority, Public Health Inspector. These days, you must be hearing a lot about this individual. Can you see? You must be hearing a lot about this individual. Who is that? The PHI. Don't you hear a lot in the news, in the newspapers, right? You hear a lot about the way PHIs enact the laws of the country. They control any inappropriate behaviors. Businesses, even individuals, even families, even wherever they are, they impose controls. Okay, so PHIs, another example for individuals who enact these laws in our country. Central Environmental Authority. You can't harm the environment while doing a business. You can't release your dirty water into our rivers. You can't let your smoke the toxic smoke. You can't just let it out to the atmosphere. You must abide by the rules and the regulations of Central Environmental Authority. You must obtain the necessary permits or license. Right? So all these factors are inside the legal environment which exists in the outer world. Right? Which environment? Legal environment. That is the fifth force of the external environmental forces. Right, children? Moving on. Due to these legal regulations and institutions and businessmen, businessmen have limits over their ability to conduct business according to their own will. Just like I told you, you can't do whatever you want, right? You should abide by these laws imposed by the legal environment of the country. Moving on. All right, children, we move on to study about another force or another party or a factor in the external environment. Did I number that right? Yeah. Is it the sixth force? Is it? I'm asking just, can you remember the forces that we discussed about previously? External environmental forces. First, customers. That's right. Second, competitors. Third, suppliers. Fourth, what is that? Customers. Yeah. Competitors, suppliers, and political environmental forces. Yeah. Political. Then legal forces. So this is the sixth force, right? Sixth factor that we are going to learn. Okay, let's go back and look. Fourth and third, second and first. So we are on the right track, aren't we? Yeah. Customers, competitors, suppliers, the three main forces in the external environment. Then we found our competitors, we learned about competitors in the business world. We looked at the way suppliers, how they act, how they affect a business, and the political environment. We generally discussed about the political forces. Fifth, the legal forces, and now we are down to the sixth, technology, technological and economic environments. In this session, children, we talk about the technological environment. So the 6 should go down here. Technological environment and the technological forces and how they affect businesses. Interesting point, don't you think? How technology affect businesses, direct or indirect? We don't know yet. We learn. Technology. What do you think of technology? Has it done any changes in your lifestyle recently? Have you experienced any changes, any drastic improvements in your life personally due to technology lately? No? Well, children, our lives change rapidly due to the developing technology. Our lives have changed drastically thanks to technology. Don't you agree with me? Just think of this setting, children. You are looking at me in the comfort of your home, sitting in your room at your study desk, and I'm doing a lesson. I'm teaching you business and accounting studies. Right? Right? You are learning a subject without even going to the teacher. At the comfort of your own home. Isn't technology wonderful? I believe so. Wonderful. It has done wonderful changes, wonderful improvements. Very, very helpful in our day-to-day lives. The world is changing rapidly due to the advancement of technology. So, obviously, children, businesses are directly affected by technology and technological forces. I hope that you agree with me. I'm sure that you would agree, right? Businesses which were running with manual labor have transferred their production process into automated, or they have adopted robotic technology. As a result of that, manufacturing or production has improved, has developed, has broadened. New varieties of goods have come to the market. Quick fixes have come to the market. Quick fixes, right? Things that people never even thought of, right? As a child, I never thought that I would be able to sit at my study desk at home and I would be able to study, listen to a teacher and learn a subject without even moving, without even traveling, without even being in a classroom. I never thought. But it's possible today, isn't it? Right. So businesses and the way they operate have changed thanks to the advancement of technology. Technological environment grows rapidly due to new innovations. True. The business activities as well as lifestyle of individuals have changed due to changes in the technological environmental factors. I'm just going through it quickly. Advancement in computer technology, didn't I tell you? Information and communication technology, ICT. Right? Advancement in communication technology, same thing, ICT. Information and communication technology. Due to internet, advancement in production methods, just like I told you, some factories, some businesses have adopted robotic technology, nanotechnology. If they produced 1,000 items per day earlier, now they're producing 100,000 items per day. Production has broadened, increased, right, due to technology. Advancement in production methods, what they mean by that, I explained to you. Due to nanotechnology and digital technology and the advancement in transportation technology have significantly changed the business environment, where businesses occur. take place, right? Remember the main points, children. Technological environment is the sixth force or factor in the external environment, and businesses have developed, they have been affected all along by the rapid advancement of technology. Some businesses have taken it in a positive way, some others have been impacted, some other businesses have been impacted in a negative way. Some businesses have gone down, right? Let's say if you're running a restaurant in the COVID season, in this pandemic that we're experiencing today, in the present time, restaurants have been closed for many months. They're going out of business, right? No, children, they're not going out of business. If they adopt technology and if they set up their business in a way that they can serve the customers without taking them in, without bringing them to the restaurant. If they can set up a system like delivery, they still can survive. Don't you think? Of course, yes. You set up an app, you set up a payment system, maybe a website, online orders, deliver the food. It's done. See the way you adopt technology to develop your business or to survive in this business world, in this competitive world. It's a very good example. So, technological environment. Following are some examples for the changes occurred in the business environment due to changes in technology. These examples, children. See, something that I have already discussed with you, something that we learned. Fabric manufacturers used simple manual weaving, manual labor in the history. But today they use modern machineries, computer technology, and they manufacture quality fabric at low cost within a very short period of time. I think that's very important. Your production broadens and you can supply at a shorter period of time, right? It's important. So these are the examples. We already talked about these examples. Businesses now use telephones and emails instead of snail mail. Who's posting letters today? Have you seen businesses using, or people using letters, written letters? You put it in an envelope and you post the letter. No, children. Some countries have removed the postal services entirely due to technology. You can just email it. Click of a button. Ting, it goes. Ting, it goes. Take your phone. Go to WhatsApp. Ting, it goes. Your message is conveyed. Technology. So businesses have moved so far from the state they were, from where they were. Early days, businessmen published their advertisements with their postal mail address. However, today they provide their telephone numbers, email addresses, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Computers and information systems are used to record accounting information. Even in accounting, it's important for you to remember because we are taking on the accounting lessons soon. Now we have computer-aided accounting, computerized accounting, right? Not recording all the information in books by hand. It's not happening now. Very rarely happens. Children, the last part was the most interesting, right? I hope so. With that, children, the part or the section of the second lesson, chapter 2, business environments. We finished today's lesson, today's session. We talked about business environments today. Chapter 2 of your topics lineup. We talked about, let's take a briefing. All right, a quick recap, right? We talked about the two main business environments, internal, external, right? And we took a definition for business environments. How was it defined? Business environments refer to activities or forces which directly or indirectly affect a business. This is a very good graph which you can use to remember internal factors. You know, entrepreneurs, by saying entrepreneurs, what is meant by entrepreneurs could be owners, So the first factor in the internal environment, owners. Second factor, managers. Third factor, workers or employees. We talked about all three factors today. Remember, we learned about stakeholders. So all these are internal stakeholders in the internal environment. And we talked about all these external forces. Customers, competitors, suppliers, political, legal, technological, and we have these ones left to be discussed. Wrapping up today's session, children, I hope you understood how the environments have been laid and how these different factors in the internal environment and external environment, how they affect a business. Thank you very much. I hope to see you soon with the second part of the second chapter.